right, we're going to go ahead and get started. The congressman should be here very shortly. We have some other people who are speaking as well, so we're going to go ahead and get started. It doesn't matter. All right, so I'm Jenny Beth Martin with Tea Party Patriots. Is it on? Is it loud enough?
Not really.
You're okay. All right. I'm Jenny Beth Martin with Tea Party Patriots. We're here today to stand up for the nearly 75%. They can hear me. But they can hear me. That's what.
This is the law.
Okay.
This is the law. This is the law.
I'm Jenny. I'm just going to start over. I apologize. I'm Jenny Beth Martin with Tea Party Patriots. We're here today to stand up for the nearly 75% of Americans who want to see this law repealed, either fully or in portion. So, oh my God.
What if we put this into the microphone? Point this at the microphone.
No, it needs to go to this. It's gonna. One more time. Hi, I'm Jenny Beth Martin with Tea Party Patriots, and we're here today to stand up for the nearly 75% of Americans who want to see this law, Obamacare, government-controlled health care, repealed in full or in part. And we're standing up for those people. Obamacare is a cancer in our government, and we're going to rip it out.
Thank you for coming.
This is the day that we have been waiting for. My name is Michelle Bachmann. I'm a member of the United States Congress from Minnesota's 6th Congressional District. And I am the chairwoman of the Tea Party Caucus. I'm the original author of the bill to repeal Obamacare. When the Obamacare bill passed just over 2 years ago, I turned to a colleague on the floor and I said, we have to let the American people know we have not waved the white flag of surrender on socialized medicine. I called my staff. We stayed up until after midnight. We wrote the repeal bill, and the next morning, I was the first member of Congress on the floor of the House of Representatives, and I slapped down the bill to fully repeal Obamacare. We are grateful that this day has come. This is one of the most important consequential decisions that will ever come before this court. And I'd like to quote from the Wall Street Journal. They said the powers that the Obama administration is claiming change the structure of the American government as it has existed for 225 years. It is not an exaggeration to say that the Supreme Court's answers may constitute a hinge in the history of American liberty and limited enumerated government. The justices must decide if those principles mean something. We believe that the Constitution means something. We believe that the action that the Congress took was at its very basis unconstitutional, and we are calling on the court today to declare this law unconstitutional. Among other things, Obamacare is the greatest expansion of federal power in the history of the country. It will create the largest entitlement program that the country has ever seen. At its beginning and opening stage, it will be 2 new entitlement programs that will cost over $1 trillion. One lie after another was said to pass this bill. We were told that health care costs would drop dramatically. President Obama said that every household in the United States would save over $2,500. Just the opposite has happened. Health care costs have spiked. We also know that physicians are already planning to leave the profession. this doctor next to me, Juan Torres, told me that 2 of the largest cardiologist practices in Orlando have already sold. Investors Business Daily newspaper did an investigation, and according to their survey said that 46% of physicians, when Obamacare is fully implemented, will leave the profession. Why is that? It's because government is taking away not only from doctors, but from individuals the right to determine their health care and their future. You see, we are surrounded right now by those who will benefit by socialism. We're surrounded by those who will benefit from the government telling you what you must do. But that's not what we believe. We believe that the Constitution gives every American the right to determine their own future and their own liberty. If the federal government can tell you when you are not doing anything that you must do something, then the federal government can tell you anything. One Harvard law professor who wrote one of the briefs said, yes, government has the power to tell you to buy vegetables. They believe that government has the power to tell you to buy a gym club membership. What kind of a country is this? Not the country that James Madison gave us. James Madison wrote the Constitution of the United States. He knew that we as Americans fought and bled and died to have a country that would respect our individual liberties. It was 2 years ago, last Friday, when President Obama signed the law into its current state. When the law passed 2 years ago, I stood in that building, and I stood in the stairwell of the East Grand Staircase. There's a remarkable painting that's there that every school child in America is well acquainted with. It was painted by Howard Chandler Christie. It's in the East Staircase of the Grand Hall. And many of you, if you've seen that staircase, you see the founders. Almost half of their faces look at the person who's looking at the painting. One remarkable face is that of Benjamin Franklin. He is looking at the person who is looking at the painting. That night, when Congress was taking the fateful vote on Obamacare, I stood up on the second floor and I looked down at that painting. And what I saw were half of the faces of the founders looking at me. It was a seminal moment for me. It was almost as though the founders were saying, look at what we have given you. Look at what we fought for. Look at what we died for. Look at our fortunes that we gave up for you. Now this is your chance and your opportunity. Will you keep what we gave you, or will you let it go? It's a moment I will never forget. And it's the moment that impelled me to write the bill to repeal Obamacare. 2 years later, this bill has not united our country. It's divided us more than ever. Look around you. We are divided as a country, not united. We need to unite around the most sacred documents that we have been given: the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, and the Bill of Rights. And we will, and we are. We are here united to stand, as Ben Franklin said, to stand for a republic, because we are here to declare we are capable of keeping it, and we will not end until we unite around the enervating principles, the animating principles that gave us our republic. We will stand, and we will fight, and we will unite, and we will repeal Obamacare.
They will be relying on an argument called the Commerce Clause, and they will argue that somehow or another anybody that does or doesn't use health care or health insurance in America is tied into interstate commerce. I will tell you that there have always been, in every decade, in every state, some people who were born, lived some long, healthy lives, and died without engaging in health care whatsoever, let alone health insurance. There is no tie-in to interstate commerce, and they cannot punish people because they don't participate in a government-mandated activity. If the federal government under Obamacare, if they can tell you that you shall buy health insurance, and by the way, this is the health insurance that can only be a government-approved, government-prescribed, government-mandated, complete with all the government mandates health insurance policy. If they tell you you have to buy that under penalty of law, under penalty of taxation or penalty of fine, or eventually penalty of the confiscation of your assets in jail, that's no answer for America. And if they can commandeer part of your paycheck and tell you how to spend it, then they can commandeer another piece and another piece. If they can tell you you shall buy health insurance, they can tell you must buy a dishwasher, or you must buy a certain kind of health food, and then you can no longer use your light bulbs or eat nice, good, juicy, grade A choice beef anymore. I want the nanny state out of my life. I don't want my body commandeered. And I will tell you that the most sovereign thing you have is your soul. Obama hasn't figured out how to nationalize that yet. But the second most sovereign thing you have is your health. That's your skin and everything inside it. And you are the one that must be able to manage that health. Nobody else should be sticking their nose in it. You're the one. And instead, Obamacare has nationalized your skin and everything inside it. And it also puts a 10% tax on the outside if you go to the tanning salon. This is an outrageous reach. And so if they've commandeered 1/6 of our economy and maybe 1/6 of your paycheck, they can commandeer all of your paycheck. And if that happens, it's incrementally, we are no longer a free people. This cannot stand. The Supreme Court, I believe, knows that. They know you love our liberty. We stand with and for the Constitution and free enterprise and freedom. And this vigorous, unique people called America will not tolerate Obamacare. Thank you very much. God bless you for being here.
Steve.
I'm Louis Gomert from Texas. Okay. The Supreme Court is going to decide whether you get to decide what kind of health care you want. I see these lovely, probably government-funded signs that are made pink saying, you know, protect women's health. You want to protect women's health, you knock down this law. We've seen what government health care does to women's health. I have a secretary in my district from England. Excuse me. She said her mother got breast cancer in England, and because they have government health care, she got on a list to get her mammogram. After she found the lump, she got on a list to have surgery, got on a list to have treatment, and she died because she had government-run health care. She said, I was found to have cancer. I'm alive because I'm in America. My mother died because she was in England with government-run health care. The same government-run health care that allows the president to say you cannot practice your religious beliefs is the same government-run health care that will say, you know what, this is costing too much for too many, and since now the government runs health care, you're not going to have your privacy rights anymore because the government will have everybody's health care records. Under Obamacare, the federal government knows every single secret about every person's private health. You want the people that control the IRS, the people that use the IRS to also know your deepest private secrets between you and your doctor, then that's what happens if this stands. This is un-American. There is no place for government to control everybody's life. Thank you so much for coming out. This is a stand for liberty. Thanks for making this stand. Let me leave you with this one thought. The Constitution matters.
The Constitution matters. The Constitution matters. The Constitution matters. The Constitution matters. The Constitution matters. The Constitution matters. The Constitution matters. The Constitution matters. The Constitution matters. Forgive our friends with the union signs back there. To quote my favorite movie, Braveheart, or to paraphrase, they're saying goodbye in their own way. With outdated music and outdated, yes, thank you, ma'am, and outdated pipes. Now, earlier you heard how before the bill was passed, Nancy Pelosi said, for Obamacare, we have to pass it to see what's in it. You know what else that applies to? Flatulence. And just like any dangerous gas, we need to make sure that this disappears into the air before it does any more damage. It will raise your taxes. It will decide for you and your parents what kind of medical care they'll get. It will pay for abortion. And it will make you violate your religious liberty if you like it or not. You want to know what religious freedom is going to be wanting under Obamacare? If you're a Catholic business owner, tough luck. We know what's in it, and we know it isn't good. Regardless of what the Supreme Court does, Congress needs to repeal this law. The Obamacare must be repealed, President Obama must be retired, and the Constitution must be restored. God bless you.
The Constitution matters. 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 My name is Phil Kerbin. I'm the president of American Commitment. First of all, I would like to praise the only three honest socialists out here today. They're three gentlemen that say strike down this law because they support single payer. All the rest of these useful idiots are just helping the insurance companies get billions of dollars of our tax money and subsidies and helping all of us to be forced to buy their product while leaving tens of millions uninsured. They are useful idiots and nothing more. Now, let's talk about the chants that we're hearing. They say protect our health care. I say yes, protect our health care from Obamacare. Protect our health care from the bureaucrats who stand between patients and doctors, the politicians who want to micromanage our health decisions. Yes, protect our health care. They also say protect the law. I agree. Protect the supreme law of the land, the United States Constitution. And protect the Constitution. An act of Congress contrary to the supreme law of the land is not a law, and it must be struck down. They also say we love Obamacare, but they're part of the 1% that got waivers. The SEIU doesn't follow Obamacare. That's right. So let's do a chant that they'll all join in because they're too dopey to know not to. We are the 99%. 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 We are the 99%.
We are the 99%. We are the 99%.
Let me tell you what. If you useful idiots love Obamacare so much, you can have it. As for the rest of us, we'll take freedom and the United States Constitution. Thank you.
Obamacare, it means the destruction of our medicine. It's doom. Obamacare is doom. Obamacare is doom. Obamacare is doom.
And I have to admit, this is not my scene. I do not like shouting matches. I do not like rallies. I believe in becoming educated about the law, so I read it. I read it a few times. And so if I could have a chance to talk, I'd like to point out that so many people who favor Obamacare do so because of the law's intentions. And of course, the intentions of the law may be good. It may be a good idea to expand insurance coverage, but it's the means by which we're doing it. We're going to put half of the people who will have insurance under Obamacare will have Medicaid. Is that really what we want for them? That's not the best that we can do by America's poor. Also, I'd like to point out that there are a lot of people here today who are pro-choice. They're very much in favor of making their own choices. If you are pro-choice, you cannot be pro-mandate. And Obamacare has many mandates. It's not just the individual mandate. You'll be forced to buy insurance. They'll tell you exactly what kind. And I don't want Nancy Pelosi to force me to buy insurance so I can find out what's in it. I want to choose what's in my own insurance package. If you're a young adult, you should hope that this individual mandate is stricken because it's changing the shape of individual liberties and limited government in our country. If you believe in choosing your own doctor, if you believe in choosing your own insurance plan, then you would oppose Obamacare with every fiber of your being. And in closing, I would like to extend a message of hope. I think there's obviously a lot of division and a lot of negativity around this debate, but I think there can be something positive that comes from this. If Obamacare is struck down, or if we could start over with health policy, we could address the real problems. I'm tired of this debate being about Obamacare versus the status quo. That's not the debate that we want to have. We want to go back to the drawing board on health policy, and yes, and have a heart, and help Americans find the health care they need by using the right solutions, not solutions that take away from our liberties. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Constitution matters!
With us today, we have Dr. Juan Torres. He's from the Latino Tea Party, and he's from Orlando, Florida.
Hi, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me now. It is very sad what I see now. This crowd reminds me Hugo Chavez crowd. This is not what America is supposed to be. We didn't come to this country to get everything for free. We came here to live in freedom. I want to tell you something. Only somebody who doesn't know what Obamacare is, or somebody who agrees with socialized medicine, can support this. I wish you guys go to the hospital and see patients and talk to them to know the truth. Everything we were told is false. If you think that Obamacare is free, you're wrong. Many people will pay about 10% of the annual salary to the government. Not only that the government has no right to interfere in patients' health. Just in case you don't know, Medicaid denies more procedures, more medicine, and more diagnostic tests than any other private insurance. It's way inferior. Living in America, everybody has the right to have a private insurance. If you can afford, do it. You will be happy with it. Nobody denies that some patients need Medicaid. That's not the case. If you think that Obamacare will improve your health, you're also wrong. I wish, as I said before, you will see the truth. But they don't want you to know the truth. I can tell you something. If you believe in socialized medicine, if you believe in the way communist countries do medicine, let me tell you something. A few months ago, I saw a patient. I walked into the room, and this patient has somebody besides the bed. And he told me I am a doctor. And he introduced himself. And I asked him, where do you work, sir? He told me, I don't work. And I say, how come? Then he goes, I just escaped from Cuba 3 weeks ago. And I say, I'm sorry, sir, you don't work. Hopefully you can work in America one day. He wanted to talk and talk. He wanted to tell me what medicine is in Cuba. And I wanted to listen to him. Then out of the blue he said, "Doctor, do you know how much I make in Cuba?" And I say, "No, sir, I don't know." And then he answered, "I made $10. I saw he was talking about the minimum wage. And I say to him, "You know, sir, it's not bad, because the minimum wage in the United States is less than $10 per hour." He looked at me and he was upset. He said, "Doctor, I made $10 a month in Cuba." That is medicine in a communist country. That is socialized medicine. Please keep in mind, this country has the best medicine in the world. It is not truth that the poor cannot get medicine. They can apply to Medicaid. They can go to the ER. They can get surgery. They can get any medication they want. By law, in the United States, you have the right to receive medical attention in any ER across the board. Don't believe what you hear. That's not the case. I'll tell you something else. When Medicare was created in the 60s, they told us it's not going to cost too much. Medicare costs more than 7 times of the original price. Recently, the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, let us know that Obamacare will cost more than double. Many people will lose insurance. And they will lose insurance because companies won't be able to afford. The premiums already went up, in some cases more than 30%. Not only that, but people won't be able to receive the Medicare the government claims. We see this every day in the hospital, and please inform people the way it is, because it's far away to what we know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just introduce yourself again.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Paul Brown. I'm a family doctor from Georgia. I represent the 10th Congressional District in Georgia. Obamacare is a destroyer. It's going to destroy the doctor-patient relationship. It's going to destroy the quality of health care in America. It's going to destroy budgets, family budgets, business budgets, states budgets, the federal budget. And it's going to destroy our freedom. We have to destroy Obamacare by repealing it and replacing it with something that makes sense, that lowers the cost of health care for everyone, so that doctors like myself can see patients and not have some bureaucrat make the decisions for us, telling us what surgery we can give our patients, whether we can put a patient in the hospital or not. We have to protect our freedom, and I hope and pray that the Supreme Court will see that Obamacare is totally unconstitutional, and it's going to destroy everything this country has been based upon. That freedom of choice to protect your family, to protect your business, to protect our freedom. So hopefully and prayerfully, I pray that the Supreme Court will overturn this outrageous law, this destroyer of a law, and we can replace it in Congress with something that makes sense. God bless America.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Marsha Blackburn. I'm a member of Congress from Tennessee's 7th Congressional District, and I want to thank Tea Party Patriots for organizing this today and bringing you all out to help fight this. It's a beautiful day in Washington, D.C. I think it's the perfect day for the Supreme Court to strike down the Obamacare law. Talk to people in Tennessee that had TennCare, the test case for public option health care. We know that all public option health care is, number one, too expensive to afford. Indeed, the Obamacare bill has doubled in cost. We know that it limits access. We know that it makes it more difficult for individuals to access affordable health care. Thank you for being here. We are hopeful that the Supreme Court is going to strike this down so that we can put in place some free market reforms that will put doctors and patients in charge of your health care. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
I'm Congressman Andy Harris, one of the physician members of Congress. You know, 3 years ago next month, the Tea Party started around the country. And they kept up. That's right, they started around the country, but the Congress didn't listen. They passed the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, despite the objections from the American people. And now what do we see? 2/3 of Americans believe that that law ought to be overturned. 2/3 of Americans believe that that law increased costs, decreased access, and decreases quality of health care in America. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to thank the Tea Party patriots for sticking to it for 3 years, and I'm going to ask the Supreme Court behind me to protect the law. This is the law of the United States, the Constitution of the United States. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
The Constitution matters. 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 The Constitution matters.
Hello, I'm Jim Martin. I'm chairman of the 60 Plus Association, the conservative alternative to the big boys, the AARP. And just so you know that it's not us, the Association Against Retired Persons, they're making millions of dollars on the backs of senior citizens. And I gotta tell you, this law, seniors did not like it 2 years ago. Seniors don't like it now. Seniors even detest it more now. By the way, your tax dollars are at work out here. We don't get tax dollars. I think there'll be a break in a minute. I think it's in their union contract to take a break for lunch in a minute. Then there'll be less noise. Thank you. Pat Boone says hello.
Thank you, Jim.
Hey, Jim. How are you, buddy?
Good morning. My name's Ken Hoagland. I'm the chairman of Restore America's Voice, and I'm going to say something you don't expect. The passion we are seeing here today has occurred from the first day of the establishment of our republic. It is, in fact, what makes us strong. I celebrate both sides, although I know that repeal is what most Americans want. The Supreme Court will take up the legal and constitutional issues as they should. Beyond those questions is this fact. Most Americans do not want this law and don't trust this law. Consent of the governed is the most important element in our form of government. Therefore, today, we will deliver 1 million petitions to Harry Reid saying, no matter what the Supreme Court decides, the will of the people must be faithfully represented in the U.S. Senate. The House, as its first act last year, followed the will of the people and voted to repeal this by a veto-proof margin. 53 senators have resisted that will, but we will have the last word, if not before November, on Election Day this November. We must insist that our will be respected and even feared, or the country is lost. Social Security has been plundered. Our energy resources have been strangled in the grave. And this law was passed even though a majority of Americans objected. Even if it were half and half, no piece of legislation with this sweeping consequences should be enacted when the country is so divided. It will be repealed, and it will be repealed by the will of the people. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ralph Reed, and I am the founder and chairman of the Faith and Freedom Coalition, an organization that is a pro-family, pro-life, and pro-freedom organization with over 500,000 members and chapters in 30 states. I am here today representing millions of people of faith, not only Bible-believing evangelicals, but observant and faithful Roman Catholics, Jews, and others who believe in our shared Judeo-Christian tradition, to say this loud and clear, that Obamacare is a dagger aimed at the heart of religious freedom in this country and of the values that made America great and beat in the heart and give soul meaning to the souls of millions of people of faith. From the taxpayer funding of abortion that is allowed under this legislation that has been extensively documented by the National Right to Life Committee, to the rationing of care by the Independent Payment Advisory Board that would lead to the sequestering across the board of funds under Medicare and ration care to seniors, to the elderly, to the infirm and the disabled, to the Obamacare mandate on religious charities that would force them to fund health care services that violates their conscience and that offends their morality and which undermines the teaching of their faith. On issue after issue, Obamacare shows not only insensitivity to faith, but it shows outright hostility to the practice of faith in God throughout our country. We believe this legislation is unconstitutional, and if you look at the CBS New York Times poll today, CBS New York Times poll shows that 67% of the American people want to either see this legislation repealed outright or they want to see the individual mandate repealed. We are encouraging our 500,000 members throughout this country to participate in rallies and events throughout America this week that calls for a celebration of religious freedom and repealing Obamacare. And I promise you that if the Supreme Court doesn't protect our constitutional liberty by overturning the individual mandate or the entire bill this year, then the American people will do so in November when you see the biggest turnout of people of faith we have ever seen. I am honored to join with Tea Party Patriots and many other organizations representing millions of Americans today. We are speaking out loud and clear, and we will not rest until this assault on faith and religious liberty in America is either overturned or repealed, and we will not rest until Obamacare is left on the ash heap of history where it rightfully belongs. Thank you all very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. I'm Catherine Sirks. I'm CEO and chair of the Doctor-Patient Medical Association and the Patient Power Alliance. I would respectfully ask the people who are trying to shout us down to give us a chance to talk, because we have been respectful to you and haven't tried to shout you down. What do y'all think about that? All right, we're tired of people just yelling and screaming when we're trying to have an honest discussion about what's going on. And what I'm here to tell you about is how the doctors are seeing this and why that's become a huge problem for this. What we have under this bill is really a bait and switch. They promised us health care, they promised us medical care, but all it really delivers is a piece of paper that says you have an insurance plan. plan or says you're enrolled in Medicaid. And what that means is go try to find a doctor who can afford to give you any care with what's being done right now, or try to find a good doctor. It's like advertising a television set for $5, and then when you get to the store, they don't have any TVs left. Just try and get medical care under this. We're a piece of paper under this bill that says you have insurance coverage is not the same thing as medical care. What we're concerned about is that people get medical care, not a piece of paper. We know that 80% of doctors are more pessimistic about the future of medicine than they've ever been, and they squarely lay it into the hands of this bill and what it's done to them. 80% of doctors no longer feel comfortable recommending that their children or grandchildren go to school, go to medical school. What does that tell us about the future of medicine in this country? There's an old story about the guy going into the doctor's office, and he's hunched way over his cane, and he kind of shuffles in, and he comes back out, and he's standing upright, and his friend says to him, "My gosh, what did that doctor do for you? He must be a miracle worker." And his friend says, "Well, actually, he just gave me a longer cane." That's what this bill is. It's a $2 trillion cane that doesn't fix the root cause of getting people the medical treatment that they need. And doctors don't want to be at these podiums. They don't want to come out. They want to take care of patients. But I'm happy to introduce a doctor who has come all the way from her practice to take time out to talk to you and tell you why she can tell you even better than I can. And that's Dr. Janice Chester.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Janice Chester. I'm a practicing physician, I'm a psychiatrist, and I'm a patriot. So why am I here? I'm here to oppose Obamacare, both as an American and as a physician. As an American, I recognize that Obamacare is a serious assault on our Constitution. I recognize that the government takeover of medicine is a major step toward removing our individual rights, our responsibilities, and our liberties. As a physician, I recognize that Obamacare is an assault on a founding document that's thousands of years older than the Constitution, and that document is the Hippocratic Oath. Hippocratic medicine holds the patient-doctor relationship sacrosanct. Obamacare, with its reliance on cookbook medicine and electronic medical records, invades the consulting room. Obamacare trivializes the very cornerstone of that which we have treasured for thousands of years. I told you I'm a psychiatrist. I'd also like to tell you something else about myself. I'm a recovering member of the AMA. Like many other doctors who have left the AMA, I have found a new home in two important groups. One of them is the Doctor-Patient Medical Association, and the other is Docs for Patient Care. Both organizations unapologetically support the patient-doctor relationship. Both groups offer a simple litmus test to any policy, practice, or legislation. Does it promote and protect the patient-doctor relationship, or does it allow for third-party intrusion? To practice good medicine, we need to keep the influence of third parties minimal. So let me leave you with two take-home messages. First, in the field of psychiatry, I want you to know that entitlement is a symptom. So think about that. And second, borrowing again from Hippocrates, I'd like to leave you with this: primum non nocere. Loosely translated, for today's doctors and patients, that means don't tread on me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Doctor from Orlando.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Okay.